is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
If Bud was the best, I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes, what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith directly challenged Floyd Mayweather for minimizing Terence Crawford after his win over Canelo Álvarez. Smith argued that Crawford achieved something truly historic, emphasizing that no boxer before him had reached undisputed status across multiple weight divisions. He made it clear that Crawford earned his place through performance, not hype, and deserves widespread respect rather than dismissal. In Smith's view, the victory over Canelo wasn't just another notch on the record. It was a career-defining moment that elevated Crawford into elite, all-time territory. He firmly stated that any negativity from Mayweather couldn't diminish the magnitude of what Crawford accomplished.
Best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather didn't hold back when discussing the stunning defeat that Canelo Álvarez suffered at the hands of Terence Crawford. He stressed that this loss will forever be tied to Canelo's legacy. At the time, Canelo stood as the undisputed ruler of his division, commanding respect, titles, and dominance over everyone around him. Yet he was brought down by a challenger who stepped up in weight and confronted him on what was supposed to be his own turf. Jeff described the loss as far more than a minor setback, calling it a permanent mark that will follow Canelo throughout boxing history. He explained that great champions are ultimately defined by pivotal moments, and for Canelo, that defining chapter became a crushing defeat delivered by Crawford.
He was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because even though he had 40 fights, he was still fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another future Hall of Famer, still losing, losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might.
Stephen A. Smith was left stunned by the magnitude of Terence Crawford's performance and openly expressed his admiration. He emphasized that being in attendance made the moment even more powerful as he witnessed history unfold firsthand. Smith stated that boxing had never seen an achievement like this, Crawford climbing in weight and decisively defeating a dominant force such as Canelo Álvarez. He described the victory as a defining milestone that separates Crawford from his peers and guarantees this moment a permanent place in boxing lore. To Smith, it wasn't merely a single bout, but a turning point that reshaped the very meaning of greatness in the sport.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saúl Canelo Álvarez. Now, I was there. I was there. Because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE. Crawford.
After the fight, Crawford's trainer made it unmistakably clear that his fighter had already answered every possible question. In his eyes, Terence Crawford has reached a level where respect should be automatic, not debated. Still, certain critics continue to withhold that acknowledgement, which only adds to the frustration. The trainer pointed out that even after completely breaking down one of boxing's biggest stars, Canelo Álvarez, Crawford is still forced to fight narratives outside the ropes. He stressed that Terence isn't even focused on what comes next, because what he accomplished against Canelo is already more than enough to secure his place in history. At this stage, it's no longer about chasing opponents or headlines. It's about locking in a legacy that speaks for itself.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Álvarez take, and Canelo Álvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Álvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
Timothy Bradley delivered one of the most daring takes yet by placing Terence Crawford directly alongside Floyd Mayweather in the all-time great debate. He stated that Crawford's name now deserves a permanent spot at the very top of any greatest of all-time discussion. For Bradley, this wasn't just about a single win over Canelo Álvarez. It was about reshaping the meaning of pound-for-pound supremacy itself. He explained that while Floyd perfected boxing in his own era, Crawford just demonstrated he could reach an even higher plane by stepping up and defeating Canelo at his most dangerous. In Bradley's view, that performance elevated Crawford into a rare space reserved only for the true legends of the sport.
Might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume.
Roy Jones Jr. shared a balanced take, highlighting a key difference between this fight and the one from years ago. He explained that when Floyd Mayweather faced Canelo Álvarez, Canelo was still young and developing, giving Floyd the edge to outthink and outmaneuver him with experience and ring intelligence. This time, however, Terence Crawford went up against a fully polished, battle-tested Canelo who had ruled his division for years. Even while giving up natural size, Crawford was able to break him down and control the fight. For Jones, that detail alone makes the victory exceptional, because Crawford conquered a version of Canelo who was stronger, smarter, and far more complete than the one Mayweather encountered.
Canelo Álvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does. And the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to find it. And he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Álvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on the decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we'd have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them.
Duke McKenzie admitted he was left speechless by what unfolded in the ring. From his perspective, Canelo Álvarez simply had no solutions for the constant pressure, sharp speed, and pinpoint accuracy brought by Terence Crawford. He described the showing as nothing short of astonishing, labeling it one of the most complete and dominant performances seen in modern boxing. McKenzie emphasized that Crawford didn't just claim undisputed status. He showed that even the most dangerous opponents struggled to trouble him. His reaction blended admiration with disbelief, making it clear that Crawford has raised the bar to a level so extreme that only a handful of fighters, if any, could ever hope to match it.
That feeling, do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight, not way before the fight, you know, in the build-up to this fight. Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight, you know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable, and Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around. Knowing how to win round.
Robert Garcia delivered one of the most powerful endorsements of Terence Crawford's greatness, arguing that in this moment, Crawford has surpassed what Floyd Mayweather ever attempted. He pointed out that Crawford clearly dominated Canelo Álvarez, winning 9 or even 10 rounds while showing an aggressive hunger that Garcia believes Floyd never displayed at that level of risk. Garcia emphasized that Mayweather never chose to move up and decisively overpower a larger, reigning champion in the same way. That, in his view, is what makes Crawford's victory both rare and historic. For Garcia, this wasn't about records or championship belts. It was about the courage to take enormous risks and still succeed, the very trait that separates true legends from mere icons.
Has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, 3-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's 3-division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retired.
Brian Norman Sr. made his stance unmistakably clear, stating that Terence Crawford's destruction of Canelo Álvarez was far more severe than anything Floyd Mayweather ever inflicted. His comments struck a chord with fans and analysts because they reflected exactly what played out in the ring. Canelo, widely viewed as the undisputed ruler of his division, wasn't simply defeated. He was methodically dismantled by a fighter who dared to jump 2 weight classes to confront him head-on. Crawford delivered a performance that felt like a blueprint for greatness in the modern era of boxing. For years, Canelo Álvarez stood atop the super middleweight division as its unquestioned leader. He carried the image of boxing's biggest star, faced elite competition, and built a reputation as one of the sport's most marketable and dominant champions. His reign made him seem almost untouchable, with challengers routinely breaking under his crushing combinations and calculated pressure. But in a single night, that invincible aura vanished. What stunned the boxing world wasn't just that Crawford won, it was how he did it. Canelo wasn't narrowly beaten or worn down over time. He was completely outmatched, left searching for solutions that never appeared.
Bud on Porter, I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease.
Right.
You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Primo or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's it's opinionated situation because styles make fights. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing because styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras as
well,
well,
different eras, different. It's a different a lot of things. You can't.
Andre Ward framed Terence Crawford's win in true historical terms, calling it a once-in-a-generation moment that will be remembered as a major shift in boxing's timeline. He explained that fights like this don't just add to resumes, they define eras and draw the line between elite champions and immortal legends. What stood out most to Ward was Crawford's discipline, noting how he stayed calm, focused, and tactically brilliant from start to finish, never letting emotion disrupt his execution. In Ward's eyes, this was a GOAT-level performance that firmly placed Crawford in the all-time great discussion. By breaking down Canelo Álvarez so decisively, Crawford lifted himself onto a level reached by only a handful of fighters in the sport's long history.
Canelo Álvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford is a great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. he had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Álvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That's a wrap for today's video. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.